proudest moment was coming out of the COVID pandemic, and oil prices had collapsed around that time as well. Given that Intermarine's focus is oil and gas, mining, power, and infrastructure, that was a big blow to us because it was a big blow to our customers. I think that's also where partnerships with customers, good relationships, and open communication and dialogue really come into play.
It's Project Cargo Professionals back in Houston, and today we're with Richard Seeg, President of Intermarine. Good to see you, Richard.
Good to see you, Luke.
I appreciate you taking the time. It was good we were able to do this after trying to arrange it for a little while.
Yes, and after a very busy week.
It has been a busy week. Just wrapped up with Breakbulk. How was it for you?
It was good, thank you. Yes, very interesting. Quite a few people.
Good stuff. Richard, I wanted to talk to you because 35 years of Intermarine this year, obviously a big milestone, and I think it's quite an achievement for a line in this business to still be around after 35 years.
Yes.
Why don't you just give us a bit of a history of the company and maybe some of the highs and the lows?
For sure. Yeah, we've been thinking a lot about our history recently, of course, with this being the 35th year. Intermarine was founded in 1990 with the idea of finding the best ship for our customers' cargo, how to provide the best ocean transportation for our customers' needs, and that really hasn't changed. Over the years, we've adapted and adjusted to the changes in our customers' needs. And so that's really the history of Intermarine is more based or dependent on what our customers have needed. So doing business in and around Russia after the collapse of the Soviet Union, trans-Pacific power equipment when the U.S. deregulated the power industry. When Enron collapsed, of course, that all changed. A lot of business from Asia to Middle East and India when that was booming. Lehman Brothers put a stop to a lot of the investments that were going on, and so adjustments from there as well. So a lot of our history, Intermarine's history, is really the history of our industry, history of our market, and our history of what our customers have required and needed. One of the things that's a little bit unique to us is in the early 1990s starting a regular liner breakbulk service, which had not really been done in the past, at least not to the level that we were doing it. And that was mainly to support the huge petrochemical projects that were going on in Venezuela and in Trinidad. And that core service for Intermarine, that core Inter-Americas liner service has continued. Now, it's certainly changed over time. Argentina was big, and then it wasn't big, and maybe now coming back again.
Okay.
Venezuela was probably our biggest market all the way up until 2015, when things changed politically there. Guyana is a good example. We've been going to Guyana for 30 years. In the beginning, every couple of weeks for the gold mines that were there. But now we have 6 to 8 ships every month in Guyana. A lot of that for petrochemical industry and some of the offshore industry that's going on there. So, for the history of Intermarine, certainly I could talk about individual things that happened, but the core business in the Americas has continued on, just adjusting and adapting as our customers' needs have changed and adapted.
And I was a bit upset because I saw you had a big party in Brazil, right, for your anniversary.
We did.
How was it?
Yes, at the Intermodal. Very, very good. Yes, our team down in Brazil, in Sao Paulo, they put on a really good show. That was a good one. And that was the first party that we had really celebrating our 35th year.
And they know how to have a good time in Brazil.
Yes, of course. Always a good time in Brazil.
And just moving up to date, obviously now Intermarine is part of JSI Alliance.
Yes.
For people who maybe don't know so intimately, tell us about that. What you do jointly with the 3 lines, maybe what you do separately, and how the alliance functions.
I certainly can, Luke. JSI Alliance at the core is an alliance. So it's 3 separate companies. We have SAL, we have Jumbo Heavy Lift, and we have Intermarine in the Americas. All three are well-known brands. They have their own niches that they're famous for, and our customers know what they can provide. But the real intent around the JSI Alliance is how we can offer more for our customers. So each company has their own customer base that they have good relationships with, people that they serve on a regular basis. Some of those customers are the same across companies and some are not. But how can we make sure that our customers get the best value from the three different products, the three different lines? So the three companies, they continue to operate as they do. They're still known as they are. But I'll give you an example. In Colombia, we have a very good customer, coal mine company. We've been doing business out of the Americas into Colombia for years, 25, 30 years. And they suddenly needed a shiploader to come from China into Colombia. We were able to talk to the heavy lift team, put together a solution for them and loaded it on a jumbo vessel and brought it into Colombia. So it's our same customer. We're providing value for the customer to be able to get all of these services that they need. Maybe something that Intermarine wouldn't have been able to do, moving a shiploader from Asia coming in, at least not with the same level of expertise that Jumbo or SAL Heavy Lift could have done.
Right.
But then the customer didn't have to go out and look for somebody else to be able to do that. They were able to talk to our Colombia office and the people we have there, and they were able to sort of seamlessly provide a solution for the customer by talking internally amongst the companies.
Mm-hmm. But Jumbo retains separate ownership, right?
Jumbo retains separate ownership, absolutely.
Okay. And tell us about the future of the Intermarine brand, how you see that developing or...
Intermarine, at the core, like I said, is Inter-America's liner business, and we've expanded and contracted over the years. I was out in Asia for 10 years for Intermarine. We did have a U.S. flag division for a little while. But certainly what Intermarine is most well known for is this Inter-America's liner service. It's a strong brand. It's a good name in the Americas, well known for quality service, and I think that won't change. We'll maintain a strong presence in the Americas.
Okay. And tell us about the Intermarine fleet as it stands at the moment. I know historically you had slightly smaller ships, maybe not so well suited to the huge wind turbines. How does that look?
Yeah, over the last 35 years, of course, we've had a variety of ships. Again, with this concept of making sure we have the best ship for our customers' needs. We've operated bigger ships that can do blades. We've operated smaller ships to get into some of the very restrictive ports in Guyana or Suriname, for example, for the mines. I think in the past, if you go all the way back, I mean, actually, when I joined the company more than 25 years ago, we could charge a heavy lift premium for a 50 metric ton piece because the cargoes were different. And those ships also could not carry windmill blades, but windmill blades were not moving at that time. So, but what happened after the COVID pandemic, we adjusted our fleet to better suit the cargoes that were moving in the Americas, and that was smaller vessels. Mm-hmm. Again, taking this concept of having the best ship for our customers' requirements. And those ships were not very good at carrying blades, but it was really focusing on our customers, on our partners, and what it was that they needed moving cargo around in the Americas. As we've joined into the JSI Alliance, we've been bringing on more vessels, and we have the ability to trade vessels in between the various fleets as required. For example, maybe there's a 12 to 13,000 deadweight ton ship that gets fixed from Europe coming into the Caribbean. And now we have the ship here in the Caribbean, and suddenly we have a need for a large volume of mining equipment that's going down to Peru and Chile. We can take that larger vessel and fit it into our regular liner service that's going down onto the West Coast, service our customers' needs. And this allows us to be able to, again, provide a better solution for our customers. We're not restricted to a specific kind of vessel as our customers' requirements change. suddenly a large volume, then we get a vessel that can do that. Yeah. The ones we have running in our fleet right now, we have about 20 ships running in the Americas, but that's not a static type of ship. Again, a ship comes in from Europe, it trades in the Americas. We have a ship that maybe goes from Houston down to Brazil, and then in Brazil they fix something going out to Australia or to the Arabian Gulf.
Right.
Then that ship isn't there. So this fleet of 20 ships is constantly changing. Maybe it's 19 today, and maybe it's 21 tomorrow, and maybe it's a bigger ship and a smaller ship, and the composition changes. So that's how we work the size of the ships. So certainly we can do blades now because we have access to these other ships within the frame of the JSI Alliance.
And now you've got the mini monsters coming in, which I love the name. Tell us about the mini monsters.
The mini monsters, these D-class vessels like the Industrial Diamond and the Industrial Destiny. Actually, these ships were designed and originally built for Intermarine. We took delivery of them in the mid-90s to operate specifically in the Caribbean. When I was out in Asia, I also discovered that these ships are pretty good for trading internationally as well, and we used quite a few of them running between China and India. So these are very versatile ships, 2 by 250-ton cranes, so they can do the small to medium heavy lifts. They're very capable vessels, 8,000 deadweight ton. They're also able to get into some of the smaller ports, the restricted ports, again in Guyana, Suriname, Colombia. And so we're bringing these ships back in. The idea is mainly to trade them here in the Americas, but within the frame of this JSI Alliance, like I was saying, trading ships in and out. If there is a need for a ship like this to suddenly take a last-in, first-out cargo that has to go from Houston to Singapore, these ships are available and also can fit in that pretty well. But we're very happy to be getting these ships back again, yeah.
And in terms of the US market, there's obviously a lot of America First policies at the moment. Do you feel like your European ownership disadvantages you in some way? Or?
No, not at all. I think in the multipurpose heavy lift segment, there's not an awful lot of pure American-owned companies anyway, so most of our competitors are the same. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the restrictions or the regulations that have come up have mainly been around Chinese-built vessels or non-U.S. built vessels, as you look at Ro-Ro and some of the other industries or segments. For the multipurpose sector specifically, as long as the ship is less than 50,000 deadweight ton, where it was built doesn't have a big impact. As long as you don't have Chinese ownership, that isn't a big impact. And so having a European ownership is not a problem for us. And of course, all of our staff here in the United States are American, but you need to have local people selling locally, whether that's in Brazil or Colombia, Guyana or Chile, Europe or Asia. And then, of course, each country is different in Europe and Asia too, right? You want Koreans in Korea to be selling and Chinese in China.
Absolutely. So if you could change one aspect of US maritime policy, what would it be?
It's probably to get some consistency in policy and direction. I know that's not just simply limited to the current administration. I mean, I think that's something that we've sort of had a challenge with in the United States, not having a consistent maritime agenda or policy. That's been the case for several years, actually. And it's hard to make investment decisions, not only for us, but also in the other segments. And when people are looking at how they can service their customers elsewhere, whether the locks are going to, or the bridges need to be replaced, or the draft is going to be dredged a little bit more or not be dredged a little bit more, this all makes a difference.
So give us your outlook for the next few years. What cargo types or what sectors, what countries, what markets are you excited about? Yeah,
what I'm excited about? There's so much unknown, Luke. There's so much unknown. I think that nobody expected the Red Sea and the Suez Canal to be closed, and that's been the case now for several years. I think we all experienced the Panama Canal shutting when they didn't have enough water for that period of time. And then the economy in Argentina, as I mentioned, seems to be coming back, but all dependent on politics, and I think they have elections in a month again. Venezuela, I mentioned, was really strong before, not so strong right now. So if I had a crystal ball on everything, I'd be very, very happy. Unfortunately, I think that we have to be flexible and be able to adjust to what our customers' needs. What we are seeing as we talk to our customers is the power sector in the United States and also internationally is fairly strong. Some of that has to do with the electrification of the economies, more electric cars, making more robust and resilient transmission systems in the countries. The data centers that are being built in the United States, and also now they're considering more and more countries overseas as well. All of these need power, and so we're seeing quite a bit of power equipment moving around.
Yeah.
We're seeing quite a bit of demand for copper. That, of course, affects mining. So we're seeing mining equipment moving for the copper mines or the gold mines. Gold is doing pretty well right now. And then we're seeing the raw materials, the copper or the concentrates moving as well. So that seems to be a fairly good bet. Oil and gas is regional and really depends on the cost to produce oil. In certain segments, especially offshore, we're seeing that this will probably remain fairly stable. For example, Guyana, Suriname, Trinidad, these areas, we're pretty optimistic. Again, not expecting huge growth, but not expecting it to collapse either. So stability in today's world maybe is a positive thing.
Yeah, and one of your colleagues was talking to me about Suriname. Tell us what you see there.
Yeah, Suriname, we've been in Suriname for about 30 years as well, servicing the gold mines primarily. Same story as Guyana. They have found some oil offshore. Suriname's had oil for quite some time. In fact, they even have a refinery that produces there. But now they have found some oil that's probably in the same geological formation that Guyana has found their oil. And we're seeing that there is some exploration and development going forward. We see this as an opportunity to continue to provide service to the Surinamese companies and to the people doing business in Suriname, same as we have for the last 30 years. So right now, if we're going in once every 2 weeks, going in once a week as the volumes increase is a pretty easy step up for us to do. So I think that Intermarine can grow as Suriname grows, regardless of how quickly it goes or how slowly it goes. But we're quite optimistic about Suriname.
And tell us a bit about you. You started as an officer in the Navy.
I did.
What did you learn from that? And what do you think you took into the commercial shipping career that you've had?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Actually, one of the reasons I thought I wanted to get into shipping is because I was in the Navy. I'm standing on the bridge wing in the South China Sea with the sun setting and the wind in your hair and dolphins jumping in the wake. That sounded like a pretty cool industry. Not really understanding that commercial shipping is completely different from that, right? It's a lot more spreadsheets and calculations, unfortunately. But when I was in the Navy, it exposed me to international people dealing with other cultures. This is something that I really enjoyed doing. And so it probably set the stage for me to get into not necessarily shipping, but I wanted to be in international commerce somehow. I had actually studied biology undergraduate, so nothing to do with shipping. And then also when I was in the Navy, I was an officer on board a supply ship that was home ported in Guam. And I was able to work with a lot of different kinds of people. I was managing people in the machinery space and in some of the administrative spaces. It helped me to learn and understand, to rely on the people that worked for me, to trust them, and to try to empower them to make good decisions. As a young officer, of course, I had a lot to learn, and I think I did learn a lot. But it basically came down to trusting your subordinates and empowering them to do the right thing.
And I know you were in Vietnam in the 90s. What was that like?
Vietnam in the mid-90s was really a lot of fun and a very interesting place to be. I was also at a very different place in my life. I didn't have kids or a family, so it was easier to live more off the grid. The United States was just normalizing relations with Vietnam in the mid-90s, and so I went to Vietnam thinking that there would probably be some opportunities. Harsh lesson for everyone is that expat packages are not given to local hires, which was something that I learned on the hard way, unfortunately. But it was a really good experience. I met a lot of good people out there, some of which are still good friends of mine today.
And I saw you've lived and worked in so many cities, Guam, Ho Chi Minh, Seoul, Shanghai, New Orleans.
Yes.
Which cities had the most impact on you?
I have enjoyed all of these cities, and I think all of them made very deep impressions on me and made me who I am today. I think that they're all very different, and I think they've also all changed. So, I have gone back to Vietnam. I have gone back to Shanghai. I'm in a different place. The cities are in a different place, and so sometimes they say you can't go back. And I think that there's some truth to that, because I'm not the same person that I was when I went out there. And part of who I am is from my experience that I had when I was there. But certainly I learned a little bit, and there's a piece of all of those countries and all of those cities that are in me today.
And how's your management style changed over the years?
Management style, I hope that I've gotten wiser and better. I think starting with the Navy, like I said, learning to trust and empower your staff and your subordinates. This is something that I've tried to do. I think it's somewhat aspirational, right? As we go through life, we always try to be the best that we can. We don't always accomplish that. But I think overall, I'm hoping that I have just gotten better and better at working with my people. And of course, people change over time as well, right? So sometimes they need more mentoring or leadership at the beginning of their career, and later on they need a lot less. And then learning how to adjust that to that as well is something that we learn over time, I think.
And what's been your proudest moment?
Proudest moment was coming out of the COVID pandemic, and oil prices had collapsed around that time as well. Given that Intermarine's focus is oil and gas, mining, power, and infrastructure, that was a big blow to us, because it was a big blow to our customers.
So you had to pivot fast then?
Have to pivot fast, mm-hmm. And I think that's also where partnerships with customers, good relationships, and open communication and dialogue really come into play. And so as far as proudest moment, coming out and having worked with some of our strongest customers and strongest vendors, ports, stevedores, agents, because everybody was sort of, bad pun, but we were in the same boat, right? I mean, we were all in the same environment, and how to survive together. How could we all help each other and work together to get through it? It wasn't the cheapest rate. It was how could we be the most consistent over time and keep the supply chains moving and keep the cargoes moving and support these people that we worked with for years and years, and how could they also support us the same way? So that was nice when we came out and things started getting better again. That was a feeling of huge accomplishment.
And what about the do-overs? Anything that you wish you could have changed and done slightly differently?
Hindsight is 20/20, they say, right? I think everyone can look back and see some things that they could have done better. I'd say probably the ones that I think about most are where I could have better supported somebody that was working for me, a subordinate, a colleague, a team member, some place where I could have offered something better, or I made a bad decision. I remember actually all the way back to the Navy when one of my subordinates was being bullied, and I took action, but probably not as far or as good as I could have. It ended up well. The person didn't get injured or anything like that. But looking back on it, it's still something that I think about quite often, that probably I could have done something a little bit better. And I hope that, at least for me, that's that and other experiences, similar experiences that I've had over time become learning, maybe touch points, right, that help guide me as I go forward.
And I'm really pleased that you came to do this, because I started asking people to nominate somebody else to maybe be on the podcast. And at least 2 or 3 people mentioned your name.
Nice.
So I wanted to ask, do you know why that might have been? Why do you think people nominated you? And whilst you're thinking about that, who would you nominate to be on a future episode?
Why? I hope it's because I bring some value of some sort, either to their lives, or they thought I could bring value to here with you. As far as somebody that I would nominate, I know he's very, very busy, but Charles Odom at Halliburton here in Houston has an incredible view of sourcing, supply chain, and world trade from his vantage point. And so he might be a good person to talk to.
Sounds great. Richard, really appreciate you taking the time. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Luke.